What's up, guys? This is Dom with Restricted America. If you don't know what's going on, Massachusetts just passed an egregious bill. It was formerly known as H.4885. Now it's known as Chapter 135 of the Acts of 2024. And it's terrible. It limits our constitutional rights. It's atrocious for the Second Amendment, and it incriminates a lot of people. So what Goal and a lot of people, just around the state have done is file for a referendum. If this is successful, it basically will repeal the whole set of laws, all 100 and what pages. It's all going to be repealed if this referendum is successful. And it was actually just filed a few days ago. There were 10 signatures of registered voters. Mike Harris was there, Charlie Cook, and Toby Leary, and a bunch of others. I don't know their names, but thank you to all of them. There is more information available. So that was the first step in this process. And there is some more information available on Goal's website. They have a page committed to this. It's just labeled H.4885, and it's under Chapter 135 Referendum. We also have more information if you look up, and I'll try to include the link in this. It's actually from the Secretary of the State website for Massachusetts, and it has all the pages for the referendum. So if you want more detail, I'm actually going to go read over this as well after the initial summary from Goal. So if you don't want to hear all that, you can skip through it, but there is some valuable information in here. So basically, they have this page. Goal has this page, steps in the initiative petition process. The process is established by Amendment Article 48 of the Massachusetts Constitution. Signature petitions for the general public are not yet available. We will alert everyone when they are. So they're not available yet. We're not at that step yet. So don't worry. You guys aren't missing out on anything. It still needs to be filed with, it's the government. So it's a slow process. I know everyone's doing the best they can right now. But the first step, which was initiative petitions, first must be prepared by the petitioner, signed by at least 10 registered voters, and submitted to the Attorney General's office. So that's being filed right now. That was submitted a few days ago. So we should hear back in, a little bit about the next step, which is the Attorney General's office then determines if the petition meets the state's constitutional requirements and can be certified. And under that, it says not ready. And we haven't obviously got to that part yet. But when we do, I know Goal will alert everybody, and I will spread the information as soon as it comes out. Next step is petitions certified by the Attorney General's office may be then be filed with the Secretary of State's office, and that's not ready as well, obviously. Petitioners, and then this is the step where the actual petitions go out. Petitions must collect enough signatures for their petition and file collected signatures with local election officials for certification. And the next step is signed petitions must then be filed with the Secretary of State's office. And then after that, and this is the last step, after enough signatures are filed, the measure is then placed on the ballot for the next statewide general election. So that's Goal's page on that. It's kind of a little bit of a simplified version than what I'm going to read next. So if you guys just wanted to know that information, that's fine. If you want to know a little bit more in depth, keep watching. And I'm going to start with, it's page 12 of state ballot question petitions. So referendum petition. A referendum petition should be filed if an individual intends to have a law enacted by the general court repealed by the voters. A referendum petition can only be used to repeal an entire law. It cannot be used to repeal a section of a law. Good, that's what we want. We don't want any of that law. How to originate a referendum petition. To originate a referendum petition, at least 10 qualified voters of the Commonwealth may draw up and sign an original petition on which they correctly identify the law they wish to have repealed. Each of the 10 original signers must obtain a certificate of voter registration from the Board of Registrars or election commission in the city or town in which they are a registered voter. Each certificate of voter registration must be signed by at least 3 members of the Board of Registrars or Election Commission. These voter registration certificates and the original petition are then submitted to the Secretary of the Commonwealth no later than 30 days after the act is signed into law by the governor or passed over his veto. So that part is already done. It just was done a few days ago, so we're good there. Some recommendations. It is strongly recommended that each of the signers have physical custody of the law they are seeking to repeal before signing the petition. It is also advisable to have more than 10 original signers. The 10 names to be printed on the petition form can be specified. I don't know exactly how many signatures they had, but if it was at least 10, then they're good. It is not recommended to file separate signature papers which are attached to the law they are seeking to repeal. Instead, each of the 10 signers should sign the page containing the petition language. Above the name of each signer, you may wish to add a statement similar to the following. I have personally reviewed the law sought to be repealed by this referendum petition and agree to be one of the original signers of the petition. The voter registration certificate of each signer may be separately attached to the petition. So those are just the recommendations. Those aren't super important. So excluded subjects and summary. The Constitution excludes from the referendum subjects that relate to religion, judges, the courts, particular localities of the Commonwealth, state appropriations, and certain provisions of the state constitution's Declaration of Rights. The Attorney General prepares a summary of the act to be repealed within 14 days after receiving the summary from the Attorney General. The Secretary of the Commonwealth prepares referendum petition form blanks with the summary printed thereon for gathering signatures of registered voters. Next section is how many signatures are required. This is obviously an important section. The number of certified signatures required depends on three factors: whether the law in question has an emergency declaration and therefore is constitutionally barred from being suspended, whether the petitioners request the law to be suspended upon filing the petition, and the number of votes cast for governor at the last biennial state election, excluding blanks. If the repeal is sought on an emergency law or a law whose suspension is not requested by the petitioners, the number of certified signatures required is 1.5% of the total vote cast for governor, excluding blanks, at the last state election. The figure is 37,287 until the results of the 2026 state election, which are certified by the Governor's Council. No more than 1/4 of these certified signatures may come from any one county, which is 9,321. So that part doesn't apply to us because there was not an emergency preamble set onto 4885. This next part does relate to what we're going to do. If the original petition filed by 10 registered voters requests suspension in writing, the law will be suspended from taking effect when the referendum petition is filed. Again, this does not apply to emergency laws. The number of signatures required to suspend the law upon filing the petition is 2% of the total vote cast for governor, excluding blanks, at the last state election. This figure is 49,716, so that's very close to the 50,000 mark that they've been talking about, until the results of the 2026 state election are certified from the Governor's Council. No more than 1/4 of these certified signatures may come from any one county, which is 12,429. So no county can have more than 1/4 of the certified signatures. So it has to be spread out across the state pretty evenly. How is the referendum passed? The ballot question that results from a referendum petition must read as follows. So this is important. This is going to be how it's phrased. Do you approve of a law summarized below, which was approved by the House of Representatives by a vote of blank on blank date, and approved by the Senate by a vote of blank on blank date? And in order to the referendum to be successful, a majority of voters must vote against approval of the existing law. Further, at least 30% of the voters who cast ballots in the election must vote to repeal the question. Vote no. So that's pretty obvious. I mean, I don't want to set that in stone, but it seems that we're going to be wanting to vote no on this, because we do not approve of the law. And then there's a bunch of legal references listed. I won't read over those and bore you. And then this is the calendar of events and legal deadlines. So this is going to be pretty similar to what Goal said, but I'm going to read them anyway. So there's a calendar of events, and then there's legal deadlines for each one on this page. So we're going to go over those as well. So submission of petition to Secretary of the Commonwealth by 10 original signers no later than 30 days after an act is signed by governor or passed over his veto. The next event is Secretary prepares petition forms for the collection of required number of signatures. The deadline for that is within 14 days after summary is prepared by Attorney General. Filing of petitions with local registrars for certification. The deadline is by 14 days before filing deadline with the Secretary. Next event is petitions with certified signatures filed with the Secretary. The deadline is within 90 days after the act is signed by the governor or passed over his veto. The next event is petitions submitted to the voters. Suspended law immediately null and void if law disapproved. So it's going to be suspended. And the deadline is first state election 60 or more days after filing certified petitions with the Secretary. The next event is if voters approve, suspended law becomes effective. If they do not approve, non-suspended law is repealed 30 days after election. So this is binding. A lot of people are saying it's non-binding. There's a different type of petition. There's like 5 different types of petitions. This one is definitely binding. If we approve, the non-suspended law is repealed. So it will be repealed. Maybe they'll go and try to pass another one. They probably will, but they know if we win this, they know that we don't want that. This is kind of going to have to be a multi-pronged approach. Like, we're not just going to have to repeal this law, vote to repeal this law. We're also going to have to vote out these legislators that voted for this law. I know for my district, both my representative and my senator voted no on these bills, on all of these bills. None of these bills obviously were any good, any version of this bill, but they both voted no. If you have a legislator that voted yes on any of these bills, time to vote them out is now, and time to spread the word is now. Don't stay quiet about it. Like, tell everybody anybody that will listen to vote these people out. They're infringing on our civil rights, and they need to go. They need to be voted out and not serve in the capacity anymore. And I'm not saying like send angry emails to them. That's fruitless. Threatening emails, those are fruitless. Don't do that. And I would say, say you don't agree. That's fine, but we don't want to look bad. We don't want to look like we're the party of violence. We don't want to look like we're that type of people. We just want this law repealed. We want the law repealed, and we don't want people further infringing on our rights. Another thing about this, and Toby Leary was kind of talking about this on his last stream, was that this probably won't get filed in time for this year's election. And if it's not, which it probably won't be, the next statewide election is 2 years from now. So basically, this bill will be suspended until 2 years from now. So we won't have to deal with this crap for basically, it won't be full 2 years. It'll be a little bit less than that. Or maybe more than that. I'm not sure. But it will be suspended. All those deadlines won't matter really, because this will be suspended, and we'll have more time to fight this thing. We'll have more time to, inform voters about this ballot petition. We'll have more information about it. We'll know exactly what to tell them to vote on. It will, I think, will be better than trying to do it this year. Honestly, I don't think we'd be able to spread the word quickly enough that, what to vote, how to vote on this ballot initiative. I think we have to get the amount of signatures that they're telling us within the timeline, though. We need at least 50,000 verified signatures. We want at least 70,000, and we want preferably around 100,000 verified signatures, even more if possible. So that's what I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it. If you have any comments or concerns, put them down in the comment section. And if you're not subscribed to Restricted America, make sure to do that now. And also subscribe, or not subscribe, make sure to follow us on X. I was just going to say Twitter. It's X now. I'll leave a link for that down in the description. I want you guys to go on that too, because I'll try to post more current updates as we go. And other than that, stay informed and stay unrestricted, folks.